Supersized SmackDown, and because it's supersized, we got a supersized three count commentaries. Last week was the season premiere. This week we are supersized. By God, we are supersized. That doesn't mean things change too much. All right, so let's get right into this thing. For starters, the matches on SmackDown were actually pretty good this week. I was right again. I'm not going to spin in my chair yelling, F you guys, I was right. I just will take all in the comment section. You can please write out how I was correct. That Sonya Deville was going to dodge that match with Naomi. I saw that coming a mile away. I'm pretty sure most smart people did. All right, so let's start about this thing from October the 15th, 2021. So Edge, gives us the rundown of his story with Seth Rollins. It started 7 years ago. Then he says that, Rollins knew he wasn't going to be medically cleared when he challenged him. Gave him a reason to go and violate his home where he puts Band-Aids on scraped knees. And, Rollins pissed all over it. He said he underestimated Rollins, just like I underestimated myself, and I never do that. Then he says that you're the only guy on this roster that comes close to my passion and my obsession. You're not Edge Light. You are your own guy. You are Seth Rollins. And then he says, our families can go to war. I could go to your house, have a chance encounter with Bex, but I'm not going to do that. Then later he says that you can't have sympathy for the devil. No more mercy. No more sympathy. He's going to finish our boy Seth Rollins. He's going to give Seth Rollins the big dirt nap. He's going to scar his soul, which sounds like it hurts like hell. Yikes. I'm going to scar your soul. That sounds bad. That sounds like something you do on a video game. Don't do that to that man. Then later, apparently Edge left the building immediately after this because Seth Rollins was not only floating around backstage around the monitors watching this, but then Seth Rollins comes out to cut a long promo of his own, and he's wearing an absolutely absurd suit. The suit is offensive. It looks like two different suits stitched together. It was absolutely absurd, which is, now par for the course for this guy. All right, so Rollins, proclaims himself that, he's not intimidated by Edge. Or, hell has already frozen because the man said the words he wanted him to say. He said that he is not Edge Light. And that, he is now in Edge's head. And he has the physical advantage because Edge is not number 100%. And he has the mental advantage because he's all up in Edge's mind. Now all he's got to do is finish it. Then he gets serious by saying, I've spent more time in the cell than Edge has, which I'm not sure is true or not, but I'm pretty sure some cage match weirdo is going to Google that and try to figure it out. But he says, I was calloused by the cell. I am who I am today because of Hell in a Cell. And you know what? In terms of character, this is absolutely true. Remember, it was the Hell in a Cell match with The Fiend that actually turned Seth Rollins heel. Because, The Fiend had that whole, the hurt and heel gloves. So almost everybody he feuded with ended up swapping at one point. And it was pretty soon afterwards. Like he turned the Miz babyface and he turned Seth Rollins heel. So that was kind of like his adjacent power. Is that he would, he turned Alexa Bliss heel. That kind of thing. And maybe they're trying to undo what they've done to Seth Rollins. We're going to have him undo it with Edge. And they're going to kill his character off. Which would not be fun. That wouldn't be fun at all. And so I don't look forward to that. But I am looking forward to this Hell in a Cell match, despite the fact that I did want something else. The gold I Quit or a submission match or, something with that's new and different. A first blood match, even just for one night, for Christ. Oh, you can't bleed in Saudi Arabia. You can't do that. Well, I'm pretty sure they could, but it might offend them. They like a lot of those people don't like to wear white and stuff. So maybe not. But I wish they had done something else. Maybe it was just an idea of, the Saudis have never had a Hell in a Cell match up close. And this is going to be the first time they get one. And they did a great job of building it up and making it meaningful and making it mean something. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to Seth Rollins versus Edge, even if they got some small things, some small hiccups here and there that I don't care for. I'm a big advocate for both of these guys, and I'm going to continue to be so. Also, a big advocate for Finn Balor, who defeated Sami Zayn in the King of the Ring semifinals. Could have saw this coming too. The match was actually very good, as usual. These two guys, not just the chemistry between each other, but just knowing what they do and being professionals. It's all just awesome. Awesome stuff. So Naomi comes out to wrestle Sonya Deville. She says that Sonya's been taking my kindness and patience for a weakness, but she's going to realize that was a mistake. Turned out Sonya didn't make a mistake at all. It was you who made the mistake by getting in the ring. Sonya Deville then says that it was a handicap match idea, and her partner was Shayna Basler. It got real dark in there for a minute. You I mean, just look at this dynamic, for Christ's sake. It's like a WNBA game out there all of a sudden. In any event, Sonya Deville and Shayna Basler beat up Naomi. While she's beating up Naomi, Sonya Deville is asking her, like, you wanted this? Boop, boop, boop. And saying, look at you. You got what you wanted, and you ruined it anyway. And it was crazy. But I loved it. I loved this angle. Mainly because we can continue to build to Sonya Deville's eventual match. We don't have to give it away on free TV. And then she did have the match. She did win the match. She just had Shayna Basler do all the work. And it seems to me that maybe, just maybe, that's going to be Shayna Basler's role on SmackDown. She's going to be Sonya Deville's enforcer. And you know what? I think that might be a better usage of Shayna Basler than winning Queen of the Ring or Queen's Crown or whatever the hell they're calling it. I think Shayna Basler being the leg breaker, the arm breaker for Sonya Deville on SmackDown is a much better usage of her. Man, just imagine how cool they could be with Sonya Deville in her suits and Shayna Basler in her black jackets. And she doesn't have to say anything. She doesn't have to really do anything. All she got to do is like crack her knuckles like an old school bully. Like Nelson Muntz. Just and then go out there and do bad things to somebody. It's perfect. If she was going to do this whole Queen's Crown thing, they'd probably have to do some kind of gimmick where she has to wear at least a robe. Probably carry a scepter or something silly like that. No, we don't. No, we don't need that. We don't need that. We need Sonya Deville and Shayna Basler as a team. That's what we need. They stumbled onto something that is better than their original idea. Now let's see if they're going to have the balls to run with it. Because it seemed like this tournament was built up for Shayna Basler to win it. And I still believe that's what's going to happen. But I'm telling you, you can't have her as the Queen of the Ring and as Sonya Deville's enforcer. Because if she's the Queen of the Ring, she has to be on her own. She has to have her own space. You can't be the king on somebody else's property. So if Sonya Deville is going to be this power mad official, then we need to do something else with Shayna Basler. And that's where we at right now. But if she's just going to be Sonya's second, she's going to follow Sonya around. And when people give Sonya a hard time, Shayna Basler is going to grab like the wrist or something and snap it. Like I'm all in on that. That would be awesome. We probably should have started this a long time ago. But I think it's a good idea now if Sonya Deville's new story is that she's going to start abusing her power. But then there is going to be a lot of people who are going to be threatening to beat her ass. And she's going to need some backup for that. Outside of I can suspend you, she could just say I can, also beat you up. But I would rather Shayna Baszler beat you up. I like that idea enough to almost be willing to switch my Queen's Crown tournament winner prediction, but not enough. Because I have no belief that SmackDown is actually going to put any thought into Sonya Deville and a partnership between her and Shayna Baszler. I don't see it. I just don't see it. As much as I want it, I don't see it. It would be so much fun, but they're not going to do it. There was vignettes all over this show. There was Hit Row vignettes, Sheamus vignettes, New Day vignettes. No vignettes for Xia Li, who is the only person that hasn't been on this goddamn show yet. And they haven't had any for her. They haven't had any for Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Why are you having vignettes for the New Day? Everybody knows who the fuck the New Day are. Like, why are we reintroducing Sheamus? Do you not know who Sheamus is? Are you watching WWE right now? You have no idea who Sheamus and Drew McIntyre are? Why are we doing... Assume people don't watch NXT. Don't assume people ain't watching Raw. For Christ's sake. That's silly. All right, speaking of the Queen's Crown thing, which I spent a lot of time on, Zelina Vega versus Carmela. So this is a heel versus heel match, which is an interesting thing because WWE very rarely does heel versus heel matches because they make no sense. So in order to not turn either one of these girls, they continued with them being heels. They were being very fake to each other backstage. Zelina Vega calls Carmela the most beautiful woman in WWE and says that, oh, you know what? I'm not going to hit you in the face. They decided to have this Shawn Michaels and Rick Martel stipulation where they're not going to hit each other in the face. And therefore, Carmela doesn't need her mask. And everything is going to be great. And I thought, and I truly believed, and I thought it might actually happen, that Zelina was going to purposely break the rule and hit Carmela in the face. But they did something that actually made Zelina come across like a baby face. They had Carmela hit her in the face first. And then she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then, of course, Zelina goes off the handle and starts beating up on Carmela. She tries to go into the outside to her handlers and get her mask. Only it's to find it's Liv Morgan with her mask. She then flees Liv Morgan and gets wrapped up in a small package. The match was 2 minutes or something like that. They tried to put on something that was interesting in terms of the heel dynamic. I don't think we got where we were trying to go, unless where we're trying to go was just get Zelina Vega in the main in the finals, which is what the truth is what happened. And the idea of Zelina Vega winning the tournament is good. I like that there's an opportunity for her, and I would definitely not be mad if Zelina Vega was made Queen of the Ring. I would love that. That would be great. I think she would be able to kill it and pull it off too, because I think her promo skills are strong enough. The only issue is she is very small. She needs somebody with her. And, since they've already got Shayna Baszler, and let's say they do my idea of Shayna Baszler being the second for Sonya Deville, then they have to do somebody else for Zelina. Of course, the natural response is going to be Raquel Gonzalez, because she's a giant Hispanic woman. Why not? But I don't know. Like, there has to be something else. That would be the main problem when it comes to Zelina. Is how can she conceivably really beat up somebody when she's literally like 4'11"? Like she's really small. And with, of course, not being male, she has very little muscle mass. And she could probably fight, because she does take classes and stuff like that. But how much damage can she really do? Again, she's very small. So, unless her opponents are Liv Morgan or Alexa Bliss, Zelina Vega is tiny compared to everybody. So that's going to be a difficult hurdle to crawl over unless somebody costs Shayna Baszler the match, which is what you could do. You could have fly Naomi all the way to Saudi Arabia just for her to like pull Shayna Baszler's leg in the middle of the match or something like that and cause Shayna to lose the finals to Selena Vega. That would be fine. You know, that would be a clean and easy out, but they're not going to do that. They're probably just going to put it on Shayna Baszler. But you know what? I ain't mad about that either. All right, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss come out there and waste everybody's time. Madcap Moss made an egg joke, and they were just in the ring cracking up. The crazy thing is how much heat this thing is getting because these jokes are corny and stupid and old. They're all old and corny and dumb. And that's why it's working. It's working because everything about it is corny and dumb. Because that's kind of the point. So Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Books came out there. I don't know why. Don't ask me. They danced around with the fans. This is all Nakamura actually does now. And then the Street Profits theme plays. And Boogs is playing the Street Profits theme, which I thought ruled. That kicked ass. So now we got the Street Profits and the Usos in a street fight for the Tag Team Championship. Last chance for the Street Profits. Match would have been fine if they did it 2 weeks ago before the draft or the night of the draft. That would have been a lot better. Specifically before they got drafted to Raw or something like that. In order to build some suspense, like we knew already that they're not about to win and go to Raw. It's not about to happen. So it makes no sense to be in this position. But the match itself was fun, and it got over, which is the important thing. Montez Ford athleticism, the Van Daminator, all this kind of stuff, excellent stuff, man. But the match itself was just fine. You know, it was they've had better singles tag team or better matches as a tag team than they have in this situation here. So it wasn't too bad though. All right, what was the next match? Oh, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. So Sasha Banks cuts a promo early about some people achieve greatness, some people have greatness thrust upon them. I'm both, which I thought was pretty good, you know, as a line goes. She, of course, get her fake laugh, which I cannot stand. It's awful. Oh, she cannot cut a promo these days without the fake laugh. In any event, Sasha has said that she comes back to right the wrongs. One of the wrongs was her losing the title. The other was dealing with Bianca Belair. And she dealt with Bianca already. Now she's back for the title. So from there, we get Becky. Becky cuts a promo too. She says, you know, hey, greatness is being undefeated for 3 years. Greatness is having a baby and coming back like the God I am. She's God now. Being a woman wasn't enough. Being a man wasn't enough. Now she's going to be literally an attack helicopter next week, the flying spaghetti monster or whatever. So in any event, she says that, you know, opening doors so other people can walk through. That is what is being greatness. So this match between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, another heel versus heel match. Another interesting dynamic that they created here. And because the girls are over, they were both getting dueling chants anyway. The crowd was obviously more behind Becky than Sasha. Bianca Belair was on commentary repeating herself, basically saying, yeah, I'm ready. I want to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. Yeah, I'm ready. I want to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. And it's like, okay, I guess you ain't got nothing else to say. Especially since she's wrestling Charlotte for the Raw Women's title on Monday. He should have been spent more time talking about that or doing a vignette or something like that, a commercial or something for that. So from there, Becky and Sasha they had a pretty good match in this ring. And Bianca Belair's interference costs Becky the match, and she loses her first match in 3 years, and it's to Sasha Banks. Again, 4 horsewomen. It is what it is, you know. it's an odd decision to make to have Becky Lynch lose her first match on TV in 3 years to Sasha Banks. Well, you know what? It's not a bad decision. Now that I think about it, because Sasha's going to win the title. She has to win the title because who else is going to be the SmackDown Women's Champion? Bianca Belair? She's not on SmackDown. She's on Raw. And Becky Lynch is also on Raw. So I'm guessing it was smart to have Sasha Banks win the title. Well, not win the title, but beat the champion here. But if that was going to be the case, you just gave her the title here. Why, waste and do the rematch in Saudi Arabia rather than do the triple threat match in Saudi Arabia, But whatever. Saudi Mania shows are going to do what they do. They're going to flip, flop, and fly. They're going to circle jerk. They're going to do everything they want to do. Now, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to complain about the guys rushing the girls out the ring. Because every time that kind of stuff happens, people get upset. But the girls weren't Becky wasn't done selling her defeat. She really wanted to sell losing. And here comes Adam Pearce. Everybody get out of the ring. Everything's got to move. Everything's got to move. Get the tables in the ring. It's like, what is going on here? And they're going to do the contract signing thing. But they're going to do it because this last half hour went commercial free. They're going to do it commercial free. Well, they have been doing this whole thing commercial free already anyway. So we get the contract signing, and it was a simple matter of Roman signed the contract under the suggestion of Paul Heyman. Then Brock reads the contract sight unseen. Roman calls him a dumb farmer, saying that he signs contracts without reading them. And then Brock reminds Roman, hey, my advocate, yeah, we read this thing earlier today. So now Roman is again looking back at Paul, confused, upset, perturbed, flustered, flummoxed. He is just taken aback by this whole ordeal. Like, why do I need to know this, Paul? So it's all going to come to a head in Saudi Mania, and I'm looking forward to it. And I was never a big fan of the RomanReigns Brock Lesnar matches. They weren't bad, but I just felt like there was a lot of them. Like this one decidedly feels different. It feels bigger because Roman is a bigger star now. The effort Brock put in was starting to bear fruit. And that's a good thing. That could be motivating. So, but you do have to ask the question how much longer they're going to be dealing with this Brock and Roman thing. I'm at the point now where when Brock eventually leaves, it's got to be Roman's got to be the one that put him down for good, right? So the match itself ought to be very good. The storyline going into it is, who is Paul's loyalties lie with? It's a very interesting angle to see them play out on television. It is very dramatic. I've enjoyed every step thus far with Brock doing very little. He's being direct to the point. He's saying things and then smiling and walking away. We're making Brock an intelligent monster. We're adding layers to his character without him doing much of anything. We're showing that Brock is a very resourceful businessman. And I'm sure that's not necessarily a side of the character that he really cares that much about. But as fans, we have to be able to see Brock as a guy who does suplexes. Like, that's fun for a while. But eventually, he just becomes a guy who does suplexes. And that's why, the Brock in the Box was so much fun. Because he had a thing to his ear like a boombox. And that was great. Because he got to be silly. So he gets to show different sides of the character. And it's been fun watching Brock grow as a performer. It has been fantastic, So this was good. I enjoyed this whole thing. It was very short, the Roman and Lesnar thing, which was good. It was short and to the point. Instead of it being played out verbally, they just let it sit. That Roman was looking at Paul with this disillusionment. My tribal chief. But So I knew something was up when he didn't ask the city to acknowledge him. I knew something was up. Something must have happened, you know. But in any event, SmackDown was actually quite good. I enjoyed it. Probably didn't need to be 2 hours and 30 minutes. Probably could have done everything that they did here in under 2 hours. There was nothing here that I said warranted, the extra 30 minutes. But it is what, outside of just plain wanting to put your boot on Rampage's neck for a week. But in any event, the SmackDown was fun. Wrestling is fun again. Wrestling is fun again, guys. And I'll talk to you guys later. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort, so question